All right, guys, let's get to it. Halloween Ends opens up this weekend and in theaters and on Peacock. It's an hour and 51 minutes, and that's a long hour and 51 minutes. Now, I went to see it last night, so if you want to see my straight out of the theater reaction, it's on the channel right now. Let's take a look at what the synopsis reads. The saga of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode comes to a spine-chilling climax in this final installment of this trilogy. Keyword this, because this is under Blumhouse. Jason Blum is producing this, and he only had the rights for 3 films. So 5.4 on IMDb. Okay, I guess where can we start with this? Let's start with the good things with Halloween Ends here. Um, like it was cool to see Jamie Lee Curtis back kind of in this genre, but that hour and 51 minute runtime did absolutely no favors. Somebody should have marshaled in David Gordon Green. Jason Blum, what the heck are you doing? You're producing this and you let him cut a movie that's an hour and 51 minutes? It's got a long opening scene. So this is my spoiler-free version, guys. And I'll cut this out and I'll post it up later on. So I'm not going to talk spoilers. Tomorrow we'll talk spoilers. There's a long opening scene to establish, I guess, sort of the main character, if you can call him that. There's a really long opening sequence, and you're like, okay, well, what does this have to do with Michael Myers? And then you find yourself asking that throughout the first act. What does this have to do with Michael Myers? We see Laurie Strode is there. There's a little bit of the fallout from what Halloween Kills had established with the town being crazy and stuff like that, saying, that evil ends tonight, like that kind of mentality. There was a little inkling of that, but then it's mostly about Laurie Strode's granddaughter and this boyfriend having a weird relationship. It's just about 50 minutes in, I'm like, wait a minute, where's Michael Myers? Well, how is this a Halloween movie? And then in an hour and 10 minutes, I tweeted in the theater, I said, that was our first appearance of Michael Myers, an hour and 10 minutes in. We saw him in flashbacks and stuff, but before that, but man, I was just like, how is this a Halloween movie? It didn't have the same music as a Halloween movie. Like, it didn't have that dun 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 dun, dun like dun dun dun. Like, it didn't have any of that. It was just kind of like a weird slasher movie. Well, that's not really about Michael Myers, and it's sort of, I just don't know what the heck they were thinking of. Because when you watched Halloween Kills, you saw that they wanted to end Halloween. Originally, Halloween Ends was going to take place right after Halloween Kills, and it was going to be, the big showdown of Laurie Strode and Michael Myers. And this one has this other story shoehorned in of like this young couple not really even finding love, just kind of interested in each other, right? And that's what the movie is. That's what the movie is. When I say Michael Myers is shoehorned in, I mean like at the very end, guys. So if you're expecting this to be like a Michael Myers movie, it doesn't feel like that. It's a movie that's not scary because, okay, the visage of Michael Myers is somewhat scary, but they don't really use that very well. It's more jump scares, and that's well established in the opening scene, that it's just all going to be just jump scares. You don't feel the menace of Michael in this one, right? And some people, might not like the ending of this. I guess if I had my wishes for Laurie Strode, it ended the way that I wanted it for her, but it didn't end the way that I wanted it for Michael. And just the weird, just it was kind of like, what the hell is this movie, man? Jesus, oh, Oh, it's like, how does this fit in? It's like a weird Elseworld kind of thing, and it's kind of like, guys. My recommendation is don't go see it in the theaters. If you got the chance to see it on a streaming service like Peacock, do that. Because I found myself really wishing for one of these, like the TV remote, so I could hit the fast forward button, change it up to like 2 times speed, because it's just kind of like, it was just, if it wasn't a Halloween movie and it was just a straight slasher kind of film about this young couple, fine, then it would have been okay. But it's like, doesn't feel like a Halloween movie. It's not really a Michael Myers movie. It's not really. It's not a Michael Myers movie, I would say. That's what I would say. And that's what, that's my final non-spoilerish kind of feel about it. Let's take a look at the tomato meter. 47%, 61% there by the audience. Ooh. Okay, so yeah, the critics were not as nice to it. 96 reviews, and this will change up during the day, guys. So we'll take a look at it again tomorrow, because tomorrow we're doing spoiler talk for Halloween Ends. And hey, if you think I was ripping it apart now, wait until tomorrow. 47%, 61 by the audience. So yeah, those numbers, I think they'll come down. They gotta come down. David Gordon Green, I don't know what the hell you were doing with this movie, man, because you were the one that said, no, we're going to change it up at the last minute, because they even shot the ending for Halloween Kills where it was going to take place right after. But no, he wanted this 4-year time gap. And it's kind of like, Jesus. Let's take a look at some of the snapshot reviews from ABC News. This is a bad one. Jamie Lee Curtis bows out of her iconic role with slashing feminist fire. But if you believe maniac Michael Myers is really hanging up his mask in this divisive scam of an ending, then you don't know how greed powers Hollywood knack for resurrection. And I do think we'll get another Halloween film for sure. I do believe we will get another Halloween movie, but it's going to be another kind of retelling of it, kind of like what Rob Zombie did. Actually, halfway through the movie, I was wishing I was watching the Rob Zombie Halloween. I really was, because that's a Michael Myers movie. I don't know what the heck this is, but it's not. Let's take a look at some more. Some more reviews here. Let's take a look at some good ones. Yeah, let's take a look at a positive review here. Let's see if any names jump out at me here. No. Let's take a look at the Globe and Mail from a positive review. A more welcome return to what a Halloween film should both look and feel like. The movie calls back to questions of fate and destiny that have marked the franchise as a whole, of knowing the feeling of evil where you see it or where it sees you. What? I don't know what movie you're watching. From The Age, Australia. Halloween Ends is no more coherent than its predecessors, but at least adds some new elements to the formula. Well, not really. Because remember the doctor in the first Halloween, like the 2018 version, the doctor that wanted to pick up after Michael Myers. Yeah, we'll talk about that again tomorrow. Okay, so let's see if there's any other names that jump out at me here in the. Let's just read some. The movie feels longer than it is, a little under 2 hours, and it shouldn't have been. It should be like an hour and a half, because of a serious Michael Myers deficit in early innings, for sure. Yeah, you go into this wanting to see like a. Here's what they set up. They set up like the big showdown, right? What's going to happen here? Michael Myers is going to come back, and there's going to be a lot of stuff there that they could do. I know people would say that, well, you're just retreading some of the storylines then, James. You're not really telling anything that much new about it. And so what then? You know, it's just them trying to wrap this thing up. And this is sort of like the main character, sort of. And if you've watched Friday the 13th, I think it was part 5, right? I'll talk about this again tomorrow. You know what I'm talking about when it comes to this guy. It's written all over the trailers, actually, when you come to think about it. Yeah, then there was like this weird off story with this girl and Laurie Strode's daughter who are fighting over their head nurse writes in this clinic or something like that. And they spend a lot of time on that kind of stuff. And it's like, what the hell does this have to do with Michael Myers? And what does it have to do with Halloween? It doesn't. And yeah, I thought this would show up in the movie, but it doesn't. Yeah, that's not in the, well, her shooting the gun there is in the movie, but this kind of recreation of, yeah, that's not in the movie. uh, I don't know, guys. Yeah. Let's take some live comments here. Uh, from Derpy Gaming says certified poop. Um, I haven't seen it. Don't plan on it after 2018 writing. Knew this movie was crap by the trailer. Well, actually, I kind of like the trailer, but the trailer shows pretty much the last. Well, yeah, we'll talk about that more tomorrow in spoilers. So more Michael Myers then, duly noted. Um, yeah, yeah. Derpy Gaming also says anybody that thinks this movie was entertaining, you're the problem that is franchise with this franchise, and new trilogy shouldn't exist. Well, here's the thing too: is that some people who are like horror aficionados and they love horror, they'll make excuses for this film, and they shouldn't. They shouldn't. I shouldn't. I'm not going to. Because it wasn't a very good theater experience. Our Glass Viking says I had fun playing the Michael Myers Paperboy style promo video game. It ended it on a high. Oh, okay, so you finished it. You actually wrapped that up. Yeah, there was like a video game that they published for it. I played it a little bit there. My gameplay reaction is up on the channel right now. But like, how does this fare? Like looking at the box office numbers here, or looking at the scores there on Rotten Tomatoes, right? 47, 61%. How is that going to affect the box office for this coming up week? Because last week, Smile was number one with 21.1. Now, you remember, that was a long weekend last weekend. Lionel Owl Crocodile still out there. How is that going to affect the numbers out this weekend? Because it's the only big movie coming out this week. These will be chopped in half. Will Halloween Ends make at least $11 million? Yes, it will. So I am expecting, just because of word of mouth of the franchise, just like Star Wars Force Awakens, it doesn't matter how good it is or how terrible it is. People will go out and see it because of the name alone. So I do think Halloween Ends will make at least 15 to 20 million, but the word of mouth is going to sink it fast. It's going to sink it fast. And out of Smile and Halloween Ends, Smile looks like Shakespeare compared to Halloween Ends. So yeah, that's where I'm expecting it on the box office weekend. And there's other articles out there saying, do hybrid releases like Halloween Ends make sense for Peacock? Well, Peacock is a streaming service it's going to be struggling for like competing against Netflix and Disney Plus and stuff like that. I'm just really bummed out. I'm bummed out because, guys, 2 weeks ago we had Smile come out and it was really awesome. Last week we had Hellraiser, which was really cool on Hulu. Just the two really good horror movies every weekend here, and I thought we were going to get a third one here, something that would close the chapter on this iteration of Michael Myers, and it was sadly, I think it was a dud. It was a dud. This is probably one of the lowest scores I'm going to give a movie in a long time. It's not going to be a 5. The acting in there was some interesting acting from Laurie Strode. I don't know what the heck the deputy had to do with it. Like her. Oh, God. Like the young guy who gets infatuated with Michael Myers. Okay, that young guy, we saw him on the stairwell there, who's sort of like the pseudo main character. That guy does put in an somewhat interesting performance. Somewhat interesting. So based on that alone, what was his name there again? Let's take a look at the IMDb. Where is he, guys? Right there. Corey Cunningham, is that his name? Yeah. he did kind of an interesting performance. And I think people will use that, his performance, like the young guy who sort of like gets infatuated with Myers. Um, People will say, well, that's an interesting idea. And it was. But it didn't feel like it belonged to this trilogy of what they were setting up. At least for me. And yeah, yeah, 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10 for Halloween Ends. 3 out of 10. I don't have any desire to watch it ever again. All right, guys, that's it. Let's get back into the movie news. That's enough ragging on that. I'll cut this out and I'll post it up on itself by itself there later on today, so you guys can see it there. I just want to get back into the movie news here because I think I've ragged on it pretty much